Hi everyone again. Hope people have been holding out well. Um, Today I don't really have much in depth to go into, but I just want to talk about a very common thing that I think people who have come to this degree of awareness experience, which is, isolation and loneliness from the crowd. Um, yeah, it's something that I've pretty much experienced most of my life, being just just the feeling of being in the presence of other people, yet also being disconnected from them, just in terms of what you're seeking to do in life, and even is there even the drive to seeking some of those people. It's like, yeah, well, we all know about the soulless types and how it's spectrum based. Yeah, and how it's spectrum based. Um, it's like so that's what they're obviously trying to do, is just fall into the base nature of the avatar. But for someone who's, I guess, trying to figure out themselves and how they can contribute to this big machination machine, human civilization, and um, understanding like the world around them and how to make better decisions, it's we've come to the point where you figured out that the whole system is geared against gaining true knowledge that matters, not the kind of stuff that you learn at the schools, because that just turns you into a cog in the machine, which is what they want. But true knowledge that about like self-empowerment, so that it makes you into an individual that's able to do well for themselves without the need of the cultural control system. Obviously, that's what it's rigged against. So, that comes with misunderstandings as well about your intentions. Sorry, yeah, I had to cut that bit out because the wind was getting too noisy. But what I was trying to say in that segment was that I'm kind of stuck in this dilemma. There's a choice between two things, where it's either that you fall into the hive mind and have somewhat of an easier life, but you forsake your integrity and your morality. You give into basically what is just, it seems to be a cult of death right now. It's like everything, all actions taken move towards chaos, inversion, insanity, and you forsake your soul. And I think that eternity is a far better thing to cultivate than this fleeting moment. It's like a bus stop on the cosmic railway. This life is really the blink in the eye of something else. But there's that option, and I'll talk about the other option when we get back. But yeah, it's between like going into it and the other path, which is the path that many of us have taken. Means that you put yourself in a situation where you become socially ostracized, or you become financially impoverished because you just find it so difficult to put your energy. The system makes you put energy into it, forces you to interact with it, just because they've, through their law, they've seized the lands, they've seized the resources. You need to interact with the system in order to do anything. And I've been able to free my mind as much as I can and get away from the programming, but my body's still here. I still need to eat food, I still need shelter, I still need clothes, I still need all these things just to live. So, you know, you're permanently hooked onto the system in that way. And, you know, that's something, it's a constant cause of anxiety, and I don't know what the solution is, to be honest. It's like, fuck your soul, or impoverish yourself because you don't abide by the rules. Some people obviously get lucky and they're able to become rich. And, you know, I think what I'm saying is that the general trend is that the thing about soul is that it's so antithetical to the direction that the system wants to take you in to degrade yourself, that, you know, you just can't, you have to basically do with what you can get, it seems. So there's that aspect to it, but then just never having any, you know, there's so few people who seem to be genuine and authentic in wanting to understand themselves and uncover the various forms of programming that's been seeded into them to improve themselves. It's all about self-improvement, it's all about growth, but so few people want to do that, you know, and given how fragile the human mind is, you know, it's so polarized, it gives into biases so much, where if you look into the Jungian cognitive functions, there's perceptive, sensory and intuitive functions, and thinking and feeling, and all of them are introverted and extroverted perceptions. And I've seen it so many in people with the functions that you know, I'll go into this in a video soon. I keep saying that I need to talk about the Jungian functions. I think it's very important in terms of understanding the mechanics of the ego. But what I'm saying is that people view the world like through just completely different parts of the brain, and all the while it makes it look through their eyes as if what they're being presented with their perception of the avatar is objective. Then there's various kinds of trauma-based mind control programs, you know, like you've got to go to work, pay your bills, pay your taxes. You know, like I like Non-Conformist Radio's way of putting it. You know, he says, wash, shit, shave, time to be a slave. I couldn't say it better myself, to be honest, but, you know, there's a pressure of the hive to fit in, and, you know, like they say that the worst fate begets you if you disconnect from the hive, and everyone's scared to do that. The social pressure is this magnetizing force that keeps you on the treadmill, keeps you moving in the direction of the herd. And then there's the whole thing with how crowds operate, in that they generally, you know, the reason why they love the authority figures, the doctors, the scientists, the priests in white lab coats, the new religion of governments instead of the church. You know, they love that so much because one aspect of crowd psychology is that they will tend to forsake their own common sense and their own direct experience for a cause, an idea, a person. But it only has an effect on them if there's a significant number of people of the crowd who also endorse that particular thing. And it's just, you know, this is a that's a logical fallacy. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but but this is how they operate. It's you know, people. I heard people say that facts don't care about emotions, but that's actually that's the opposite of what should be said, which is emotions don't care about facts. Um, so you're up against that basically, and people in crowds will tend to, um, along with giving blind faith to a cause based on the number of people that support it, to which government is a fucking, that's a huge occultic egregore that all the psychic energy of the organic portals siphons and focuses towards. So it becomes an entity and it's given power through that mechanism. But like another aspect to it is that they will tend to forsake their. So you could have a theoretical physicist, and you could have like a I don't know, a great mathematician or statistician or whatever, left brains kind of stuff. You can put them in a crowd, and their psychology reverts to that of a. Oh, 1 second. I think there's people around. 1 second. Sorry. Yeah, I was saying their psychology reverts to that of a. God damn it! I come here to try and get away. Okay, I think they're gone now. Yeah, sorry. What was I saying? Yeah, their psychology tends to revert to that of basically a child in the crowd, and it's the most. Oh fucks! Are they still here? I'm really sorry, guys. Um, sorry. I just when people are around, I can't think straight. It's something. Don't know whether it's me or whether it's got something to do with the psychic field. But, yeah, sorry. So yeah, they're the way they act is not based upon the expertise of the individual. It's based upon the crowd's sentiment. So, and the crowd sentiments always takes things to extremes. They will always, so for instance, if you are a public figure and you say something bad, like you say, for instance, that, I don't know, like black or Hispanic people do this. They have a higher propensity for one physical trait or the other, because there are differences between the races. The crowd, if it's like, might then call the person like a racist, or like someone that they would basically witch hunt them. They would try to destroy the public figure's reputation, stuff like that. So it's the crowd's very polarized, takes things to extremes. It forsakes individual values. It puts stock in the lowest common denominator of the human psyche, and so this is what you're fucking dealing with. And to but so few people understand it. Why do I know that? Well, just look at it. Just look at the crowd. It's the fucking majority here. There's not a lot of individuality, individual ideas, new trains of thoughts, new ways of doing things. It's all the same. It's all to just perpetuate this system of energy siphoning. This is what it's really all about at the end of the day. I mean, what else could it be if they keep, there's a constant pressure applied to create just as much mayhem and confusion and illusions and trauma that takes you off the path of where you should be. So it's just, this is what I mean about loneliness. No one seems to understand you. No one wants to understand you, because it's like your presence is everything that they fear. You're you're the you're the chink in the shield or the mirror. You're the one that wants to shatter the illusion. And they can sense that. They don't know it, it's subconscious, but they whatever it is that acts through them doesn't like it. That's if their soul is battling some other kind of foreign consciousness, that's part of this whole demiurgic, or Kismet Smile calls it the dark generator uh, constructs that we're in. But all my life I've never felt connected to my peer group. I just, a lot of the people that I know from school, because I'm a young guy. I'm 26 now. I turned this year, but like everyone that I know, they're either I don't even know what they are now. Like they're still the same that they were at school. They're still just playing video games all the time, just going out on weekends, getting drunk, distracting themselves. Because I get watching TV shows and playing games. I do it very occasionally now because I find it hard to, I don't get a lot of enjoyment from it anymore, and it just seems like whenever I do it, I'm just thinking to myself, what am I doing? And then I realise I'm not doing anything. But when you're watching the TV or you're playing the video game, you get entranced, don't you? And you enter the world, and then that, time passes by, then a whole day passes by binge watching TV, and then what's actually happened? And this is where they're at. They've been caught up in the net, and now they can't get out of it, it seems, because too much willpower is required to do that, and the further they stay in it, the further their willpower diminishes. The willpower comes from the soul. So it's just not, there's no one to turn to. And I'm just gonna be honest, like I feel fucking I feel very alone. Like I feel like I'm surrounded by people in my real life who just don't get me, but I have to be around them because I've got to interact with the system to an extent. So you know what I mean? And it goes beyond the matter of people saying, oh, well, everyone's different, everyone's got different personalities, right? You just got to learn to fit in as part of your own self-development. But this is something different. This is an entirely different organism we're dealing with. You're not really dealing with conscious human beings, and I don't feel bad about saying that. I don't feel like I'm degrading the human population. There's no emotion attached to that statement. It's just an observation. I mean, how can anyone justify all of this madness and insanity and death? I mean, look at what they do to animals, man. What's it, 70 billion land animals die every year? Such a huge blood sacrifice. And they talk about world hunger and all these charities. Think about all the grain that gets fed to animals. Think about the deforestation. Think about all of this stuff. It's all connected, right? Then the whole virus thing, where if they had the power to shut down people's businesses without remorse, then wouldn't they do that to the porn industry or the junk food industry, the tobacco industry? They kill millions of people every year. Isn't that a public threat? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. But it doesn't make sense because you think for yourself. The hive doesn't think. The hive's based on emotions. The hive gets the validity of its decision making from the number of people contributing to the particular idea. And if you're at the spearhead of that, if you're the newsman on the TV, then there you go. You got them. Immediately there's respect just because the number of people that's following it. But you see, you can't explain that to most people because they're in it, because they're swimming in it, and they can't see, they can't distinguish the shit from the gold. How can you? If you're drowning in shit, how can you see anything else other than shit? You think that the shit is normal. I'm a human body, and well, I'm not just that, of course, but I need real connections. I need, I it's just not, isolation is not healthy, but it's like, what choice do you have? I know there are other people out there, um, but there's so few and far in between that it seems like you're alone. I mean, if it wasn't for these online communities, I think I would have thought I would have gone mad, and the gaslighting would have got to me so much, and I probably would have been, even sadder than I am now about the state of just whatever this fucked up experience is. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's the whole idea that, you know, certain occult conditions need to be present in order to reach this conclusion. You need, look, all of the mystics and sages and shamans and whatever, they disconnect themselves from society. And I'm not saying that I'm that, because I don't identify with any labels or titles, just to make it clear, but just looking at what those kinds of people did, in order for them to gain any kind of real information, they've had to detach themselves from what makes them human. We're built we're built in a way for this tribalism, and that sentiment towards an authority figure, just because the number of people contributing to it, that's built into the survival mechanism of a human, which might have been beneficial for us hunter-gatherer types in the Paleolithic period. But now we've gone away from tribes of 50 to 120 to just global scale civilizations, and the psychopath is just completely, and narcissist is just completely just, it's widespread, and it's not spoken about as much as it should be, really. And it's so obvious that the society is an expression of that. But we're just not, the humans aren't built this way. But something happened when we became, in the Neolithic period, which is not too far away from, well, it's just a blink in the eye in the whole scale of however long humans have been here for. I mean, in the mainstream consensus, and I don't know how valid it is, but it's the only information I've got to go off, is that I think it's like 200,000 years or something like that. I don't know, I just could be completely wrong here, but and compare that to the Neolithic, when we started um, planting crops and settling down, creating towns, creating people began specializing. This is where the human mind began to start to fragment into the shards that it is now, for this whole polarity psyop, turning people against each other, distracting them from who's really got the reins of the culture. So the Neolithic period, that's well, they say that the first civilization was Sumer, although you have Göbekli Tepe, and then there's that, which was, I think it was it 8 8,000 BC, something like that. And then there was another one that they found recently. I don't know too much about it, but that's apparently like 12,000 years old. But anyway, like for years they've been talking about the you know, the people in Sumer and like Acadia, around the Euphrates area, but as being the first kind of civilization, that would be I think it's 6,000 years ago, some 4,000 BC, was it? I don't know. It's quite a short period of time for us to be living in these big settlements, in these big groups, and this entire thing is very new to the human psyche. This level of mass mind control, mass psychosis. And it could be argued that the hive mind virus, or the inversion, implanted itself fully back then, because the Native Americans of North America was speaking about Wetiko, and I think some of the Aboriginals, which are really they're really old people, but they were aware that there's an aspect of the human mind that's corrupt, that can be corrupted, and you don't let it get a foothold, because that's just it's like a ball that rolls down a mountain, sorry, a snowball that rolls down a mountain. It's just going to get bigger and bigger over time. It's going to, but like, what's happened in it? What has happened? And then you've got all these ideas and all of this stuff in your head, and it comes out of it comes out of compassion and sympathy to a certain extent, and just wanting to make the world better, because it's a fucking no-brainer to me that we've got to sort everyone's got to be happy, right? Because if you gain something at the cost of someone else, that comes back to you in the state of the world that you create, and for your children. That's what I'm thinking. It just made it works out in the end if you can help everyone else out. So why not try? But then there's this thing that just makes people think about themselves completely. The society, perpetuates that. So you're here with this knowledge, and there's no one you can talk to about it. There's no one who understands you. There's no one who wants to understand you. There's people who call themselves empathetic and compassionate, but as soon as it gets onto really getting to know someone who's genuine, that all falls out of the window. And it says something about themselves to not take it upon themselves to really ask the deep questions that need to be asked. Because if you're not asking those questions, then what else are you doing? I'm sorry, but like, we need to know what the root causes of what's going on here is. Because if you know, then you can diagnose. Diagnosis means through knowledge, from its Latin origin. So to figure out a problem, you need knowledge of how it works. It's basic, it's simple. Apparently not so, because the knowledge is the group knowledge, which is conferred by the number of people contributing to the idea, to which government is the greatest one so far. But no, I mean, it's what do you do? What do you do now? I'm talking to a phone standing in the middle of nowhere, trying to get away from people. I don't know. I don't really have any answers, to be honest. I guess I just wanted to make this video today to share my thoughts and ideas, and it's as much for my own personal needs to get all this stuff out of my head, as it might be helpful for some of you who might resonate with my experience. And I think a lot of you are. We're all talking about roughly the same things in this community. Yeah, I don't know. I think we are going somewhere though, with where we have connected to an extent online. It's just weird shit is happening. you know, and 2020 showed itself, really cemented the theories that we'd been coming up with. It really showed what they're capable of, this hive. Okay, that's recording. Yeah, sorry, I ran out of memory on my phone, but yeah, what I was saying was that um, I'm kind of torn in two places with how I feel about this, like, just the human race in general. It's like one part of me feels um, kind of sorry for them, a bit compassionate, um, understanding of just how wholly manipulated our species has become, how inverted they've become, how you know, insanity has become normalized. But then another aspect of myself just says, fuck the whole thing, you know. You know, look at how they treat people who genuinely want to grow and help make things better. Sorry, I'm kind of lost for words, really. It's not good. Yeah, it's just one of those days, really, where it all hits you. You just got to ride it, really. Yeah, so, you know, you're kind of battling between making a decent life for yourself and maintaining your integrity, battling like a sympathy and discontentment, not discontentment, what's the word, apathy. You know, they're so apathetic that they even make you apathetic. How crazy is that? It happens though. Is apathy because, you know, I can't give my energy to it anymore. I can't think about it. There's something, I feel like I'm supposed to do something else here. Not that I felt like, you know, not that I felt like it was my purpose to try and change something here. It's just, it's nice, you know, it's nice to work towards something that's progressive. You know, this whole virus thing, you know, that's you know, the CV stuff, that's just inverted, isn't it? That's not even staying stagnant, which is how they seem to be before it hit. Now it's hit, now they've regressed and they've come out of their shell and they're showing us who they really are. So, you know, fuck them. Fuck them. They can go fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned. And I don't feel bad about saying that. I don't need to feel bad anymore about it. You know, they spit on life. So, you know, I don't even, it's not even worth my effort or time to spit on them. They're just nothing now. My energy will go towards people who are real, people who want what's real. You know, I think in one of the Green Wizards videos, if you guys haven't subscribed to him, I suggest taking a look at his content. He has some good stuff all around the area. You know, these all about these topics. He says if you want to be real, you have to be real, in one of his videos, and that made a lot of sense to me. and these people aren't real. So they're not your community. They're not. You're surrounded by them, but you just don't feel connection anymore. When I was younger, I did want to try and make a connection. I spent ages. I was at a point in my life where I was a people pleaser to a degree. Although even then, I spent most of it being isolated. Yeah, you know, I spent most of my time as a kid basically playing video games, but it wasn't because I wanted to. I wasn't happy. Like, I convinced myself I was happy back then, but you know, I did find it hard to connect with my peer group. Yeah, maybe that's just how it is. Um, yeah, you know, I apologise if this seems like a bit of my energy seems a bit lower today, but there's times where it gets to you, like, real hard, and you just got. I think at this point, I personally reached ground zero. I think the only thing I can do is just just put one foot in front of the other. I think something will happen though. It can't keep going on like this. You know, there's such a lack of actual consciousness in this place. It's just, all of this is all on autopilot. It's the worst kind of autopilot. Machines can be manipulated by their masters. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now. You know, take care, everyone.